So growing up, have you ever felt this higher calling to be something? I unfortunately never had that. See, growing up, I had about a million different career choices that I wanted. I went from everywhere from being a lawyer to being a marine biologist, to being a coach, to being a general manager, opening up my own brewery. I was in a million different directions and not really knowing where to go. And I had all this pressure coming from my family who wanted me to be something that I wasn't. I came from a family of nurses, so both my mom and my sister were nurses, and they tried to get me to do that. But it wasn't for me. I was kind of the free-spirited child, as I still am. But growing up, I definitely had a need to, I was involved in sports all my life, and I had this need to go ahead and implement that into what I wanted as a career. So whenever I actually started thinking about it, I thought about what I could do. And one of the main things that came up was being involved in the police force. And being involved in the police force definitely comes with a lot of strenuous activities, and it's this whole long process just to even be considered to be a police officer. So when you first go ahead and apply, you're going to go ahead online to whatever department that you want to go to, and then you find that department, and most likely than not, they're going to go ahead and refer you to PST, which is the public safety testing site. There you're going to be able to find testing sites and times of what you want. So once you actually choose a site that you go ahead and want for your time that you want to go ahead and test, you show up, you take your written test. It's about a 3-hour test. Once you're done with that, you go ahead and out, they grade it right then. If you pass, you take the physical part of the test. And if not, then you basically just have to go home. But once you go ahead and take the physical part, which includes 300-meter sprint, 1.5-mile run, push-ups, sit-ups, then as soon as you pass all that, your scores get sent out to whatever departments that you want. And if you're lucky and the departments want you, you go ahead, they give you a call, and that's when you go further with going into interviews, your oral boards, your background investigations. You go into your polygraph test, your psych eval, your physical eval. And then that whole process, which can take about 3 to 5 months total from testing all the way done to your psych and physical evals, is when it can take about 3 to 5 months for just that. And then so you have to be extremely dedicated from the beginning. People might think, well, why would anyone put themselves through that? That's so long to just even be considered to be a police officer. But one of the main reasons that I know that I wanted to be a part of this is because, I have this higher calling to protect and serve your community. You are dedicated to the people around you. You actually want to go ahead and make a difference in people's lives. And that's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be that positive force in the community. I wanted to be that person that people look up to. Especially now in today's society, there's such a negative connotation to police officers. You see it every single day in the news, in social media, on the internet, everywhere, that people, quite frankly, hate cops. And I wanted to be the person to change that and say, okay, not all cops are bad. Especially being a female police officer, I wanted to go ahead and be that positive outlook for little kids. Only about 13% of the police force is women. I wanted to be that role model for little girls to look up and say, okay, I can do this job in a field full of men. Lastly, I know I kind of spoke about it earlier about, growing up, sports was a huge part of my life. But one of the main reasons that I love sports so much was being involved, and you were on a team. And that's something that the police department offered. You get this whole sense of camaraderie around you. You have this sense of family behind you. I know you have your partners, you have your whole department, you have the whole state, you have the whole country supporting you, behind you. I'm sure we've all heard that Blue Lives Matter, and as soon as fellow officers either injured or killed in the line of duty, so many people are up supporting those people around them. Even, in testing, you have these random strangers behind you supporting you, saying, okay, one more time, do one more push-up, and that you don't even know them. So if you were to ever be on the same department with them, you're going to have this family always supporting you, behind you. Now, all of this, being a police officer, requires so much dedication, but it's all for the greater good. It's all for serving a higher purpose. You are dedicated to serving your community. And I never thought that I could personally, you know, be that person to go ahead and protect and serve people and, you know, risk my life for others, but to make change, if someone can do it, why couldn't I? Thank you so much.